Roughead, Smith and Bruce, along with Puopolo, all have kicked 2 goals. 200 games for that man. And Lewis, 18 possessions, equal best on the ground, looking over his shoulder. So what will happen now? Sandilands will rise high, at least initially, and a good smother. Mundy on his knees, only as far as Birchall, suckling so much of the footy. He's up to 19 and leads everybody on the ground now. Hill towards the boundary, run down by Pearce, hand passes forward. The other Hill, Stephen slides in, spills across towards Subin. Subin the high kick, Fremantle with the numbers. Ballantyne spilt it, Pavlich over the top, made it awkward for Main. Runs to the 50, back to Pavlich. You'd like him from here. Oh, and a captain start. 3 goals as Pavlich kick-starts the Dockers. Well, they got the spare man across half forward. Most unlike Hawthorn. And Pavlich gave the hand pass off and then got one back. And certainly he's been like a beacon up forward tonight. 3 goals, he's got all of them.
Well, there's Pav. He's kicked all 3 goals for Fremantle. A one-man band at the moment. Ryan Crowley has started out on the wing on Shields. I reckon they've released the tag in there now. They need to get ball winners into the middle, try and generate something. So I think the tag is gone. Crowley will just run around, try and get possessions. Something new for him, not having to worry about an opponent.
Let's go.
So a different sort of a night. So Pavlich with that 3rd goal. It's the number he got in the grand final last year. He's one shy of Tony Modra all time.
Oh. On the ball, you just dropped it.
So against Sandilands, so Bruce.
Clear out, play on.
Good handball to Lewis, to Mitchell, to Suckling. Well, here's a chance. 50 out. He's got the angle. Ooh. It's low and long, but it's a behind. So Modra's in the top 30 all time, and 1 more goal to Pav, and that's where he's at. Funnily enough, the last time Fremantle won a Friday night match here at the MCG was in 1999, and Modric kicked 10 goals on that occasion for them.
McFarlane back to Spur, sends it outside the 50. Not a particularly good kick. Well done by Hannah, though. Such dexterity. Goes back towards the middle. May have overshot the mark. What about that? Speaking of marks, Mitchell. And how about the finish? Puopolo. Reflexes by Mitchell.
How good would he be feeling, Sam Mitchell, that his tag has been dropped? I mean, it's partly because his teammates have been so good, but nevertheless, always a good feeling that this tag just disappears from your side as the game goes on.
Puopolo's got 2 alongside his name. This will test him the distance. In fact, going for extra distance, he pulls it off the ground by Hill against the post. Now, it may have deflected off a Docker, I'm not sure. But Smith in very quickly.
You can almost chalk Sam Mitchell in for 15 second half disposals, I think.
Yeah.
So the target Spur, and just got there. So Pavlich with the only goal of the second half.
Move it on. Play on.
So Spur, defensive kick down the line. Sandilands the target, takes the mark. Oh, had a bit of a slip. Back to Pearce. Pearce, neat kick, Pavlich to beat a couple. Ballantyne couldn't quite. Burgoyne's been brilliant tonight. Mitchell, Gibson, Mitchell, well done in the end. And then Lewis, back to Spanger, sweeps it to Cheney. Both those guys share a bit, don't they? They haven't quite been able to really cement themselves. Birchall beautiful to Bruce. Bruce thinking about it, and then kicks to centre half forward. Neat looking kick. Oh yes! Cyril takes a special and goes bang. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, I agree with you, Mackie. You can't get much better than that. He ran into space, jumped on the bloke's back, landed on his feet, beat the tackle, snapped the goal.
I'll be honest, something, Bruce. He's one of the absolute dead set stars of the competition, but he might break out.
I reckon he's going to have a year that he's never had. I reckon he could become one of the best 3 or 4 players in the comp this year.
Quite possibly his best year was 2008, almost 08, his first year. But he's been fantastic in glimpses, obviously, but in terms of consistency from week to week.
What about the confidence of Bruce to actually kick the ball to Cyril in a contested? He saw him there. He knew he was going to have to take a back mark, but he knew he had the tools to do it.
Margin 59 points then. Early going third term. Sandilands on the way down. Mundy tackled as he came down. Hand passes towards half forward. It's pretty good. Crozier taken down, but not before he released the ball to Hill inside the forward 50. Cheney was up. Suckling is back. He's played a very good game. Kept his head. Birchall back to Cheney. Out wide to Smith, or is it Simpkin? It's Simpkin who's taken the mark, but they've got a few to choose from on this side. Rather, it's Smith. Just dabs it across towards Brad Hill. Right at the interchange gates. Three guys by themselves on this wing. And now Hill has to take his time, and then getting free from the herd down there was Gunston. Just peeled off and nobody came with him. Short one, Puopolo. 60 metres out, Puopolo. Roughhead wants it long. He goes in that direction. He's out of the contest, though. Well played, Mazunga, with some help. Knocked it down. Here's Bruce, always dangerous. Looks to the middle. As a result, kicks to a contest. And stretching up, the bigger man took the mark. Sandilands lays it off to Crozier.
Crozier's kick not great. Ballantyne under pressure, hooking back. Pavlich and Gibson. Gibson went early, did really well against Pav. Back to Crozier, back to Pavlich. Look away, handball. And then Pavlich down the line. Cheney, Main against him. Main wounded in that first half. Cheney played it well. Ball spills out. Toe poke. Pav over the top to Main. Will it sit? He's working it, and it's out of play. He's just well, he's injured tonight. He's a bit out of sorts, though, I think, Main. Didn't hit the scoreboard in the opening 2 weeks when Freo were winning, and tonight he's I know he's hurt, but not much impact from him, is there?
No, you're right, but he's no orphan, is he? It's been a tough night for so many Dockers. Shields behind the pack to Mitchell, who's been wonderful right from the first bounce. Now Hill surging forward. Smith, man on Gunston. It should be a goal. Gunston all the time in the world, but he bounces it through. His first goal tonight.
Well, Wayne's talked about space and been opening up. We just saw it again there, didn't we? I mean, the Dockers are just getting hammered on the transition, which you don't normally see.
And we're seeing the development of Bradley Hill for Hawthorn. I reckon he set a draft camp record for endurance and repeat endurance, so he's got the aerobic capacity to run out of games. Last year he probably didn't have that, but expect to see regular 25 possession games from Brad Hill.
Well, Dennis was onto him early, Hill. I mean, he talked, I reckon, in the opening round about what sort of a breakout he'd have. 26 disposals is his career high, and he got that in round one, and he's on target for that tonight. But they've been superb, haven't they?
No doubt about that. Sandilands hooks it down. Taken by Hill hurriedly onto the boot. That's Stephen. Down towards half forward. He's tried hard, Stephen Hill. Ricochets off Haniff towards the boundary. Brad Hill goes after it. And the ball goes across the line. I think on the half volley. It'll be a boundary throw. Lewis back on the ground. Haniff doing the rucking opposed to Hale. Hale got first hand to it. Langford opened himself up. Gee, that was tough. He didn't take the ball. He didn't have the ball, but he knew it was coming. And he just tapped it to the advantage of his team. Not much came of it, but I'm sure that Alistair Clarkson would have been thrilled.
It's going to be a hard team to get into by the end of the year, I reckon. So big nights for Langford and these young guys, and they're doing so well.
Held without it, Shield. Play on.
Not only Hodge sitting out and Lake and them, but Brad Sewell's one. There's a whole heap of players that
Hold there.
you would think would come back. Schoenmakers will be ready to come back in a week or two. Here's Rioli.
Play on. Play on.
Cool to go.
Thanks, Matt.
Langford.
And this is what Langford needs to do. He's playing on Monday, and he's had Monday's measure so far, but if he can get on the scoreboard with assists and goals, it's a huge bonus.
Not a great kick going forward. And just didn't get it in Crozier's. Had a bit of it in this quarter. Takes the mark and gets to Main at half back.
Right on the line of the 50, just lobs it over the man on the mark, going back into uncharted waters there. Whereas McFarlane did well, as you'd expect. And a fine player for the Dockers. top 10 draft pick by the Hawks. There were allegations he may have hidden in the Colts side under an assumed name. Ball comes back to him. He's McFarlane tonight, though, and he's seen a lot of the football down his end. Sends a long ball towards the wing. Stretching was Pavlich, off hands and out of bounds in front of Gibson. So just controlling the flow of the game. Watch Langford again. Knew it was coming. Had to know. He's played enough football to know. And that.
Well, he's pretty lucky there, Walters. He left the ground but didn't get Langford high. If he did, he would have got weeks for sure.
Got him in the arm, actually, as it turned out.
Yeah.
Above in front of his face.
So ducking down Walters and a ball up. So, Tom, does that clear him, Walters, or not?
Yeah, I don't think he's actually got him high.
I think what saved him, as Lee just said, it was his arm up in front of his face. If his arm's not there, he's in trouble.
Yep.
So just pot luck, guys, eh?
Yep.
So Lewis to Pearce to McFarlane. Back to Neil, back to Pearce, back to Neil, almost run down to De Boer. To Sutcliffe, sandwiched by Bruce and Rioli. Crowley off a step, gets the ball forward. Well done, Walters, got to the front, he played it well. So creative when things are happening. In about 3 different minds there, and then kicks the ball to Cheney's advantage. Ballantyne onto it, still Ballantyne, and he has done nothing. Kicked it across the face. It's just one of those nights, isn't it? Just one of those nights. Thought he was going to use Pavlich for a moment there. He probably got too close to him in the end.
Just a glimpse of Ross Lyon. Coached against Alistair Clarkson 8 times for 3 wins, 4 losses and a draw. Johnson got a hand of that one. Sutcliffe to Johnson, missed the target. Crowley leads back in the race. Great use of the body by Roughhead and the presence of mind on the ground to deflect it into the path of Gunston. Simpkin combines with Smith. Lewis on the overlap to Birchall. Looks in the rearview mirror, goes back to Lewis. Lewis will go again to Birchall, who'd run on. He loves this situation. Now he can run at the defence if he wants to. In fact, to look at frustration, he comes back to the middle, and Simpkins got it about 75, 80 metres out.
You can see Cyril on the top of your screen there. He ran about 100 metres there. Cyril didn't get used. He's knackered now.
Shields, I think he is too. He's in trouble over the top main. That ball doesn't release. And the umpire will ping him.
On the ball. Freo.
They did well to hold that up, Freo, because Hawthorn had their favoured left side of the field wide open then, and the Dockers is who's got the numbers players and back.
Sheridan gets it out to Pearce, and that kick's not good. Simpkin couldn't take the mark. Crowley, Neil, De Boer tries to straighten up, does. Hill tried to protect it, couldn't quite. Hale and Simpkin, now Ballantyne. Ballantyne loads up with a high one. Where's Pav? He's got 3 to beat. Nearly does it, not quite. Crozier, well done, Cheney. Gibson's in a good spot, takes them on. Hill again, switches it to Smith. Smith with that dash out wide to Ruffy. Ruffy with a smorgasbord, we've said that before. They work so hard. I mean, Richo just talked about Rioli's work rate a moment ago, and that was Smith and Hale. You've got to take your hat off to this fella. He's had 2 careers, hasn't he? A good one at North Melbourne, but a much better one. Maybe because he's in a better team, I don't know, at Hawthorn, but he seems to have improved every year.
Roughhead miscues on the bounce to Crowley. Fumble came there from Spur. Mzungu gets a kick off, but a high one, so Pavlich will need to work off his hands. Numbers with the Hawks. Spanger, Cheney, short one. Surrounded by Hawks this football now. Roughhead, well, he fumbles. Gives Fremantle some hope. But now it's with Hill to Gibson. Thinks about using Hill, then goes back to Burgoyne, who will use Hill. Not 15. Thank you. Goes up towards the wing. Langford. Run comes from Puopolo. The appetite is everywhere, all over the ground. The Hawks want the footy. Missed down there by Bruce. Ziegler overran the football. Duffield did well. Gave it to Johnson. Short one to Hanneth. Running hard to the outer side is Sheridan. He goes in that direction. Crozier is the next link down the ground. Needs to give it now. Well, he'll bypass that man, Crozier. That's a good kick. Finds Pearce, who'll break back towards the middle. Lays it off. Here's Sheridan again. Sends a long ball. It's Crozier rather down towards the pocket. And it bounces out of bounds.
And Walters off the ground, 10. So he had a bit of a knee problem this week, Walters coming in. Wasn't sure whether he was going to play or not. So they've had their injury concerns. Ibbotson, of course, gone early with the shoulder. Walters there. Main's recovered and playing, but he'll go down in the rooms too. So it's just one of those nights, as we said, for the Dockers. A real disaster. De Boer off a step. That's going to be close. And not quite. Simpkin getting back. So here's the Walters injury. Just pulled up. And there he goes. As I said, he was in doubt earlier in the week. So Mitchell off a step. Gets the ball to half-back.
Hold! Jared Ruffhead, arms around, mate.
So Sutcliffe giving away the free. Ruffy back to Mitchell. And then Mitchell, piercing kick, a good one to Lewis.
Plays on immediately, Spanger. Well, throwing himself at the footy and missing by a couple of metres was Hill. Coming through as Duffield for the Dockers. Untidy hand pass from Spur. Sold a teammate De Boer into trouble. This is Crowley. Crowley around the corner. Again, the numbers with the Hawks. Bounces kindly for Smith. Lowers the eyes again. Too high, though, for Gunston. Runs free at the back, but belated hands in the back, and Gunston will get a free kick.
Jack Gunston, your kick. Push.
So Gunston finds himself right on the 50. In fact, he'll kick a little outside. Hey, there's a story. Hale. Hopefully it's just a bang on the shoulder. Doesn't look like it.
Sure.
They're out back. Back, right out. 15 seconds scored. Back.
We'll wait to hear. Meantime, Gunston. This will test him. Goes, that's a magnificent kick. What a powerful leg. He's cleared the line by about 5 metres, and he's got 2 goals. But the news not all good.
And that looks quite sinister. Something structural straight down the race. Initial instinct was perhaps it's just one of those stingers which can give you instant pain, but on closer inspection looks far more significant than that, so I'm sure Richo will be all over it down on the boundary.
And when you think about Hale, he's become so important to their structure, hasn't he? The role he plays.
Oh, well, tonight he's been the first ruckman and done really well.
Here's the incident with David Hale, and there didn't seem to be a lot in it. It looked like a contact, but when he was coming off the ground, he was in a lot of trouble, David Hale, and went straight down into the rooms. Michael Walters is still down there as well for the Dockers being assessed.
You mentioned about Hale. I mean, having a dangerous forward who can be your second ruckman, which he provides. But tonight, when he's had to carry the ruck against a real monster, he's certainly done it extremely well.
I mean, that was the biggest talking point of the night, Sandilands, wasn't it? And the clearances and Hawthorn have just completely and utterly dominated. Burgoyne puts a tackle on Subin. It's a 70-point game. So Mundy, just Dennis pointing out, 9 disposals for Mundy. I mean, he's the one you would have thought would be the big ball getter tonight in the absence of Fyfe and Barlow. Mitchell arches the back, gets it out to Rioli. And then Rioli to Hill. We've called their names a lot together tonight, haven't we? There's a lot of magic between those two young men. And then Hill off the step. Ruffy will get it. Well, he didn't quite. It was a beautiful kick. Simpkin back. Mitchell has to surge. Rioli and Hill working it out between them. Burgoyne trying to get it back. Ball popping around. De Boer. Johnson, good handball to Sutcliffe.
Sutcliffe down towards half forward. Now these two guys are about 40 metres in the clear. This will be interesting. Cheney, Pavlich right there with him. Cheney not interested in having a draw, just socket it out of the location. Hand pass misses for the Hawks, a rare blemish there as Hill goes back to Mundy. 8 possessions now down towards full forward. Spanger got a hand on it. Well done, just drifting back. Enough to knock it away from Pavlich. Taken by Cheney. Goes to the outer side, Giray. Pushing past his Burgoyne. Goes to him now. Burgoyne, well, took it way too easy. Still, or rather Gibson. Gibson twisting. Goes with the right boot towards half forward. Misses the target. Over the head of Langford, taken by Crowley.
I think even the Hawks have been sloppy in the last minute or two. So difficult. There's 70 points in front. It's in the Hale injury. We'll go to now Doc in a moment on Hale. Sandilands on a long lead, couldn't quite. Just having such a forgettable night, Fremantle. Impossible to think they could put in another performance like this, but full credit to the opposition. Hill, Mitchell, and then Mitchell off a step, banging it down the line. Smith tapping towards Langford. Johnson, clever hands. Crowley pushing the ball back. Main got the half volley, goes back to Subin, back to Stephen Hill. Hill, good kick. Hanneth. So Hanneth in the heart of the centre square.
Puts it across to support from Crozier, and that kick worked out okay. He was under real pressure as he kicked. Valentine gets on the end of it, and I think it was his intention to try and find the white jumper towards the pocket. So he assessed it beautifully.
Seems like Hawthorn made more errors in the last 2 minutes than they had the previous 80.
It's hard to be perfect, isn't it? They've come pretty close tonight. Valentine then. Kick is on the way, and I think he's got the goal. He has. Fremantle get their fourth. The first man, apart from Matthew Pavlich, to kick a goal.
So David Hale back. So Valentine joins his captain on the scoreboard. Just haven't been able to make an impression all night. So there's the Hale. Is it Rowan White? Tell us about Hale.
Yeah, Bruce, look, he got a bad knock on that right shoulder and came straight off down to the rooms. Look, he's come back out. He's still hampered by this. The substitute is still sitting, so we don't expect that. It could be just a bit of a bruise, maybe a very small crack at the outer end of the collarbone, Bruce.
Thanks, Ryan. And Pavlich's working hard. So Ryan White there from Triple M. So Hale, let's hope he's okay. 200th game tonight. 129 with North and 71 with the Hawks. Started this match so well with an opening goal and has played a very good match. There he is, we can see. He's got a bit of movement. So Pearce going for goal. And
tell you what, you want to be confident that he's perfect.
Yeah.
Given the state of the game, they're 11 goals in front pretty much, getting towards three-quarter time. If he wasn't perfect, you wouldn't be risking it at all.
No.
They led by 57 at half-time. Haven't done much in this term, really. It's a game with not much sting in it just for the moment. On the outer side, Crowley, but in its way, that's a good result for Fremantle. At least they've stemmed the bleeding, but of course, a long way off the pace. Sam Mitchell, a terrific night. Great players have a lot of pride. 12 possessions in the grand final. I'm sure he set himself for this one, coming back after injury. Sandilands thumps it down. Simpkin, Hill, run over. Well played by De Boer. Goes to Sandilands. Sold Pearce into trouble. De Boer, the hurried kick down towards full forward. Gunston, who doesn't mind getting back deep in defence, launched himself from the back of the pack. Now, Crozier is a left footer, so we've got a dangerous kick here. Back to a good situation for the Dockers. Off hands De Boer, flicks it out, trying to accommodate Johnson. Johnson with Hill right there with him. Sutcliffe on the numbers, turns around and finds Pearce. And Pearce is directly in front, about 40 metres out. Wants to go short. Oh dear. No good. Showed a lot of it to Gunston. It's a terrific tackle by Mitchell. Ball jarred out of there. Slung out of there by Smith. Taken by Shields. Nondescript football from the Dockers that time. That was a terrible pass inside the 50, and that's holding the football. Subin taken down by Burgoyne.
So back to Burgoyne. It was a great tackle.
Well, when you're that far down as the Fremantle side are at the moment, you just have to take the easy wins, and Pearce just had to go back and kick the goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was within range. And he hasn't had a terrible night, Pearce. No. I mean, he's been okay. I mean, Hill and Pearce have been two that have got a fair bit of the ball. So Suckling to Giray. Off that step. Segler. So just his third game tonight. Came in for big boy McAvoy. Duray to Hill. So Hawthorn slowing down themselves here. Hill running around and now setting up to centre half forward, to fall forward. Roughhead, who's at the back. Bruce can almost get there. Crowley with him. Kept his feet bruised. Off the ground. He's clever, isn't he? He's kicked free. So one in each of the quarters. He's one of those guys, the grand total's more than the parts, I reckon. I mean, he's a terrific player, but you say, why? Well, he's got a great footy brain and he doesn't make many errors, does he?
Yeah, he's a converter. He knows where to go, how to get it in the forward line, and he doesn't miss. It's not a round ball. I mean, it's a bouncing oval ball, but he still was able to control that soccer kick.
What I think makes Luke Bruce so valuable, he does pretty much every aspect of the game really well. He's a mid-range player. He can take a contested mark. He knows where to get to when the ball's in the air and he needs to crumb, and he generally executes his skills exceptionally well.
Sandilands to De Boer to Pearce down towards half forward. So Walters getting a free kick right on the line of the square. That was courageous. Went hard, told to play on now. Kicks to space. Pavlich again set a task. Thumped away by Gunston. It's amazing how deep he goes at times. Gives it across towards Siegler. Kicks it up towards the wing. Storming up the ground is Crowley. Gave it to Subin. Centering ball nicely done. Johnson goes short. And it gets there in time to Duffield. So the defenders, when they have seen enough, have pushed up the ground to try and kick a goal. Who would make that call with Gunston, Tom?
I think it would just be an expectation on all the Hawthorn players, particularly the half forwards, that they need to push up. The work rate of the Hawthorn Footy Club is second to none. It's not a case of ball hunting. It's just the fact that that's the way footy is played these days. Push it, half forwards push right up, and it was his turn to do that.
So Duffield, about 40 metres out. That's a pretty good kid. Holds its line beautifully. So they're going goal for goal at the moment. 103 plays 40. Margin 63 points. So in this term, Hawthorn have increased their lead by only 6, and that seems to be a pretty good sign. We heard from Rowan White from Triple M a short time ago. Wasn't sure how this one would play out. Well, maybe a bit of good news there. Hale seems a lot more content than when he came off the ground.
So Ballantyne and Duffield in the last few minutes have joined Pavlich as the goal scorers. Both coaches with a great record, of course. Clarkson with the 2 premierships. He's won 74 of the last 100 games he's coached in, Alistair Clarkson. It's not quite Bomber Thompson, but boy, it's good, or Chris Scott for that matter. But Pearce forward. Burgoyne, Rioli, Lewis. All of them have been stars again tonight. Rioli to Shields. Shields started so well. And that one gets all the way through to Simpkin. Speaking of stars, Mitchell. Well done. Roughhead gets onto the left, not quite. Goes back. Simpkin over the top. Gets to Bruce. Bruce too slow just for the moment, but he kept his feet. Sutcliffe. Well done, Dockers. Well, but the ball ricochets back. Poppy, busy. Shields off a step. Yep. Another goal scorer. Right on three-quarter time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 10 goal scorers again tonight, as they did last week, as they did the week before.
Well, we know how many disposals they've had, but they've only had 2 players that haven't had 10+ disposals. Yep. Very rarely do that many players get into double figures. We haven't even reached three-quarter time, so they have shared the load all over their team, both with getting the footy, the conversion, the whole lot of the deal.
We said we can chalk Sam Mitchell in for 15 disposals in the second half. He's at 13 this quarter.
You got that in ready. Just the adrenaline rush when all of a sudden he's got a bit more free space than he had in the first half.
So Hawthorn 109 points this afternoon, 100 points against Fremantle last season, done only twice. The Hawks did it down in Launceston as Lewis gives a hand pass across towards Shields, who kicks it out wide, taken by Hill. There's the siren. And St Kilda did it in round 23 when Fremantle flirted with some risk management. So it's three-quarter time. The MCG on Friday Night Football. Hawthorn 17-7, 109. Fremantle 5-10-40.